Hello and welcome back to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott and I am your host. So I just want to first start off thanking all my new subscribers the past few days. I haven't made any videos. Kind of tough over the weekend with the kids, family, work, all that type of stuff. Thank you to all the veterans that have served and are serving right now. Thank you for your service. Yesterday was Veterans Day in America. I also want to shill a little bit, and I got a little flack for this in one of my comments, and I respect that, so I'll say it quick. YouTube's not helping little guys like me grow. The algorithm has changed, so this is a grassroots movement. I really need you guys. If you like it, please hit like. Share is huge. Subscribe would be great. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 mark. I'm going to do a live stream once I hit like 300, or probably 500. I want to do, live stream at 500. So please like, share, and subscribe. Have your family subscribe. That's it. I'm done with it. Thank you. So this is a review of Watchmen, Episode 4, Season 1. If you don't like my story, write your own. Kind of feel like that's a little jab at the so-called toxic fan. I know Watchmen got a lot of flack prior to it even coming out. People were worried about it being woke and being this and being that. And one of my first subs, Exhaled Silence, he loves this movie, doesn't think it's woke. I think it's a little woke. I think it's actually a lot woke. I think they're really more anything else trying to play off of Watchmen when this story didn't have to even go with Watchmen. It could have been completely different characters in a completely different world. But that's how I feel about it. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. Are you liking this season, the series, and if you want more reviews. So starts off with Lady True. Now, Lady True, we have seen her satellite that in the last episode, Agent Blake was using to communicate with Dr. Manhattan. So right there, and we also saw her daughter picking up newspapers. We didn't know it was her daughter at the time, but picking up a bunch of newspapers for her to read. Well, we finally meet her. So it actually starts out with this little farm, and it's Kenny Rogers, I think, and Dolly Parton duet, and they're selling their eggs on the side of the road in their farm, and she drops them, and they giggle, and they have dinner, and they're about to go to bed, and there's a knock at the door. Lady True, boom, sits down. I actually liked this character. She was very I don't know, something about her I liked. So she told them that, for the next 3 minutes, those people are the most important people in the world. And, she asked them first, what have you heard of us, heard of me? And the woman said, you're a billionaire that rarely comes out. She says, well, I'm a trillionaire. So she flips this sand time thingy. I forget what you call those, hourglass. And it's a 3-minute hourglass. And she's like, you don't want to, I want to buy your house. They're like, no, it's not for sale. And she goes, yeah, blah, 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 legacy. Well, you guys are barren, can't have a legacy. When you die, you're extinct. But I guess they did try 10 years prior, intravenous type stuff. And it was her business that actually administered that, and it didn't work. Well, she actually went ahead and created a biological baby for this family, this wife and husband. And the whole time I'm ready for something sinister. So, she's like, you have 30 seconds left. Do you want this baby? If not, I will destroy it. And she looks at me and goes, come on, guys, I'm joking. I'll find her a good home. But she also threw in $5 million. So they sign it. And all of a sudden, when the sand runs out, boom, a meteor hits in that property. And she says, it's mine. So we'll find out, I guess, what that's all about. At first, I thought it was going to be Dr. Manhattan. So then we jump to Angela. Angela, she gets a call. Oh, she's in her bakery. She's cleaning up after having her grandfather there, wiping down prints and all burning stuff. And she's about to burn the letter, and phone call comes, machine. God, I'm stuttering today. Machine picks up, and it's like, you have a new branch on your father's side. So she ends up breaking into that cultural place, and the secretary, whatever he is, drops this acorn, and she goes and plants it in this holographic tree. Family tree grows, and then she can touch which screen, and she finds gets to meet her great grandfather and grandmother, and then little William before he they thought was lost to time. She knows that he hasn't been. The only thing that gets me there, first of all, it's the technology so advanced, but they don't have cell phones. I mean, are they really pushing this lithium battery thing that hard that they don't have cell phones? I mean, come on. You have a hologram family tree that's interactive. The kid had that, erector set from, the future. They have all these things, but yet, I don't know. So she cries and is like, you blew up my life and blah, 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 don't ever come back. And all of a sudden she hears boom and a car alarm. So she runs outside and there's Agent Blake laughing in front of the car from last episode. Turns around with gun drawn on her. Hey, what's up? And she's like, this fell out of the sky. And she's like, yeah, it's my car. No big whoop. And she's like, well, okay, anything taken? And the pills were in the glove box. And she's like, nope, nothing's taken. She calls it in. What's her name leaves? Blake leaves. And she grabs the pills and pockets them. So then she goes home and I think that's the scene. I might be jumping around, but the scene where they're making breakfast, and the kids are she goes home and the girls are sleeping with the dad, so she sleeps in the bunk bed below the son, who I personally think is not helping him with his trauma, talking to him too adult-like, So they wake up, they make eggs. The father tells the kids, there's no heaven. Uncle Jed didn't go to heaven. He was nothing. He was born. He was a child. He was adult. He's dead. So we find out there he don't like to lie. Okay, so that might come in later. So then she goes to Mirrorball's house, and he has, of course, a freaking shelter. So his bunker is underground. It must be a tornado or a bomb. It looks like a bomb shelter. And he actually took photos of one of the squids, rainstorm, and talks about they were born and then they die. And she's like, you're weird. And he's like, I reckon one if you say one. So it's kind of sling bladish, whatever. So she shows him the pills and says, can you have this tested? And he goes, well, we have a scientist down in the precinct. He's like, well, what about your ex? So I guess he had an ex. They broke up, he says, amicably, and she must be some type of scientist or tech person or scientific person of some sort that she can break this down molecularly and tell her what it is. Then they're talking about Jed, and she shows Mirrorball the KKK outfit, which, if you remember last week, I said most likely is like his father's or grandfather's. Even Mirrorball said it looks real old. So she asked him to hide that. Probably come in later on. So then we jump to her back at the bakery, suiting up, putting on the stuff. She does look pretty dope. I'm going to say it. She does. I wish it wasn't Watchmen, because I think I'd be more into it. But she goes and dumps it off a bridge into a train hauling garbage. And when she looks over, there's this dude in a latex or leather silver ball looking suit. I mean, the whole thing was silver with goggles and a belt on. And he sees her and she's like, wait, cops. And he runs and they're just chase scene. And then all of a sudden he rips off the belt. He takes 2 things of looks like vinegar or olive oil, puts it all over himself and slides right into a grate. Guess that'll come back for us setting something up. So then she goes to, I'm sorry if this is boring because the show is boring. She goes back to the precinct with the salad dressing, and she runs into the senator, and he's like, I know who you are. I shouldn't have been there. She's like, no, you shouldn't get kidnapped again. I don't know what that dude's deal is, but I guess we'll find out. She goes up and asks them about the silver suit, if anybody's seen him, to the 2 red, the Russian dude and the other chick with the prince thing. She's wearing a prince mask, like lace. And they're like, well, might have to ask the new boss. Well, Agent Blake is in, the captain's office. So she says, we dusted your car and we found, your doesn't know who he is, but prints from a guy who was, a police officer in New York. So she finds that out. And then after that, disappeared in the 40s or 50s. And we know that he's still alive. So for some reason, they take a ride over. I guess they figure out the thing that picked up the car was owned by Lady True's company. So they're taking a ride over there. It's Agent Blake, it's Angela, and it is the junior FBI guy, the dork. And, they're talking about vigilantes wearing masks. What was your trauma as a child? And then Blake says, well, tell, to the junior guy, tell her what my trauma is, because she's like, I used to dress up too. Oh, really? Yeah, really. And explains how the comedian and Silk Spectre, comedian tried to sexually assault her and this and that, and Silk Spectre, her mom. So they ended up having sex. She consented, but at one point he tried to rape her. So they get to Lady True's place, and the daughter comes up and says, my mother is having tea and no boys allowed, so it's only the women. And which kind of pissed me off. This junior dude is a dork, but come on, man. Like, only the women are allowed in the sacred area, Garden of Eden. And this place, this clock tower thing that people are saying is a tower. I'm sorry, a clock. They're saying it's the new wonder of the new world. Like, the lighthouse at Alexandria fell to an earthquake. The Colossus of Rhodes fell into the ocean. So they're talking about the 7 wonders of the world, or 8, 7, 8. Shit, I was a history major, and I forget shit because I'm always in a rush. But the ancient world had these great, the pyramids, the Library of Alexandria, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, things of that nature, and they're building a new version of that. So they have like the company, and then she buzzes them in, and all of a sudden they're in like a tropical area, and it's all glass. It's really looks amazing. And what Lady True said is, on my mother's deathbed, I promised her that I would never leave Vietnam, so she brings Vietnam with her. She's a freaking trillionaire. She could do that. I would be doing that. Word. So they're just going back and forth about who piloted the planes, and then she asked, well, whose car was it? And Sister Night says it was mine. So right there, if she didn't know, which I know she knew, she definitely knew that Sister Night was Angela. So she says, well, in my culture, because they both know that they're from Vietnam now, because Blake drops the dime on her. But I think, again, she already knew. But she says in Vietnamese, I'm guessing, your grandfather wants to know if you got his pills. And in Vietnamese back, Angela says, you tell that old effer. Oh, crazy. I got to rewind that so I know how to say effer in Vietnamese. That would be kind of dope to drop that on people. Like something weird. Not weird. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but for me, coming out with like, banga, and it means, sorry, no kids. So she says, tell that effort he can ask me himself. So they leave, and that was that. And then we jump to Adrian Vitt, and he is he's on a rowboat, and he looks like he's in a lake, but he has all these like cool little lantern things, and he's pulling up lobster pots, but there are babies inside that live underwater, and he's like checking them to see if they're ready and throwing them back in the lake. And he takes a couple back with him and puts them in this machine, and it pretty much just ages them rapidly, and all of a sudden, boom, you have your 2 female and male clones that he, I guess they're clones. I don't know if they're natural from this place or because I have an idea on that. I believe that this place he's in is a different dimension, different universe. Because so he grows them, and he's like, you can't talk for a while, but they can comprehend pretty quick, and they're right into their roles. So he brings them to the manor, and he's their master. And when you walk into the dining room, he has killed every single clone. There's probably 30 of them, male, female. And he's losing his shit. He's been there for 4 years, and I guess, guy like that, losing his mind. Oh, I got to get back. Sorry. Right before this, Blake goes, is that Adrian Vitt? And it's a statue of him at Lady True's place. And it is him as he looks now, even though everyone thinks he died years ago. And they're like, well, why is he so old? And she's like, oh, because, he is old. And people in my culture, oldness means wisdom or something like that, which is true. But I would say kind of wait a minute, why does she have this? Because no one I think knows for fact that he's dead. I mean, there's a lot of rumors. We've heard that in different episodes, so I was wondering about that. So we get back to Viet, and he's now has them take the bodies and put them in a catapult, and he's launching them into the clouds, and they disappear once they get right near the clouds. So I'm guessing that's the entrance to this world dimension. I'm guessing he has something with Lady True. Either they're going to be in cahoots or they're going to be definitely enemies and she sent them there. I don't know yet. But that's his plan, is to escape that place. And that's why there's tomato trees that are like, instead of tomato plants, vines, there's different things, just a little bit different. Like it's a multiverse type of setup where maybe just a couple things changed through evolution. I don't know, maybe getting too deep with that, but that's what it kind of seems. Or she created a prison for him, and it's like, watch it be like a little globe, and he's actually, that's his prison. I don't know. Something stupid it'll be, probably. So then we get back to Angela, and Angela goes home, and during that car ride, she finds out that Agent Blake stopped at her house and met her husband again. So she goes home and asks him, what does she want? What did you tell her? And he's like, oh, I told her that you did this and this and this. And she's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, no, I didn't, because I hate to lie, but I did it for you. So somehow that's going to come up, that he hates lying. But she did say one thing. She did say, she knew that we met in Vietnam. And then she said, did she know about your accident or bring it up? And he said no. So there's something about an accident that happened. We're going to find out, I guess. Everything's always find out down the road. So then all of a sudden we're back at Lady True's place, and her daughter wakes up, scared. She's hooked up to an intravenous, and she runs in, mother. And she's like, what? And she's like, I had a nightmare. I was living in a village, and they came and they burned it down. They made us walk. And she's like, good. And she's like, my feet still hurt. Will you walk me back to bed, mother? And she's like, no. So I'm guessing this little girl's actually a clone of her. She made, instead of having a child, because, she's not going to carry a child. She is woman. Hear her roar. You know what I'm saying? So she just created one. She don't need a man. She created her mini self. But she must have some of her memories, or at least subconsciously memories. So I thought that was a little interesting. We'll see where that goes. And then she's like, goodbye, Mr. Williams, Louis Gossett Jr. And he's like, goodbye, child. And they start talking about, it was passive aggressive for leaving the pills. So these pills must mean something, like it's a breadcrumb type thing. And he even said, like, if I told her straight out what I was or who I was, she wouldn't believe me. So she has to find out for herself. And then they just start talking about, like, don't get cold feet, because when family is involved, people get cold feet. So whatever's going down is supposed to go down in 3 days. I don't know. Don't really care. The show isn't even that entertaining. It kind of jumps around. Like, I don't even know where. If you know, tell me where they found out that the plane was not like a UFO, but like Lady True's planes. I don't know where they found that out. But I didn't even look at next week's stuff, so I don't know what to tell you. But, let me know if you want me to keep making these. I only had a few views on this last one. But again, please, thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through, thank you. Hit like if you like. If not, I hope it was at least a little entertaining. I'm better bouncing off other people. So, as always, remember, if they are calling you names, they've already lost the war. Have a great day.